of the victim's family and loved ones are crucial. While the specific rights may vary depending on jurisdiction, these rights are as follows. The family has the right to be informed and promptly informed about the progress of the investigation, including any updates, developments, or changes in the case. The right to be treated with fairness and respect. The family should be treated with dignity, respect, and sensitivity throughout the investigation process. They should not be subjected to any form of discrimination or harassment. The right to privacy. The family has the right to privacy and protection of their personal information. This includes safeguarding sensitive details about the missing loved one. Jamilla, known as Millie to friends and family, is a beautiful young mother of 2 small children. These children need their mother home. Her mother, father, and entire family need her home. They are scared, confused, worried, and heartbroken. These feelings and emotions are unlike any they've ever experienced. They deserve the answers. Now let's talk about Daniel Harmon. At some point, Jamilla saw something good in him, but unfortunately, abusers are expert manipulators. They charm their victims at first and win their hearts, but eventually the monster comes out. They abuse their victims and then apologize with the promise it will never happen again, but it does, and each time is worse than the time before. By this time, their victim has suffered not only physical abuse, but mental abuse also. Abusers make their victims believe that they aren't good enough. Nobody wants them, nobody cares, and no one will ever love them. Victims are often threatened if they try to leave the abuser. Domestic violence victims are controlled completely by fear. Daniel Harmon is an abuser. He has a rap sheet more than a mile long, but always seems to weasel his way back into population. This is wrong on every level. It is time for these monsters to be served up exactly what they deserve. When did it get to the point in this country that criminals have more rights than the victims? This insanity has to stop. Had law enforcement stepped up and kept him behind bars, none of us would be here today. This happens over and over until someone is killed. By then it's too late. According to the National Coalition Against Domestic Violence, about 20 people per minute are being physically abused by an intimate partner. Per Captain Eric Abdullah, it's not a crime to go missing. Captain Abdullah is correct. It's not a crime to go missing. It is, however, a crime to continuously release potentially and proven dangerous violent criminals back into society to harm the innocent. We do know beyond a shadow of a doubt that Jamilla was screaming for help. The ones that she was supposed to be able to trust to help her and save her failed her. We have knowledge of several emails, corresponding emails, between Jamilla and the Aiken County Sheriff's Office discussing the abuse, along with pictures of physical injury shared to the Sheriff's Office. We are here today to find Jamilla and to bring her home. We are here today to get justice for Jamilla. We are here today to help this family get the answers that they deserve. What excuses does the Sheriff's Office have for not treating this case and Jamilla's family with the utmost care, concern, and sensitivity? When an investigator tells a father, and I'm not sure if it was Jamilla's biological father or stepfather, but one was told by an investigator, when you run with these kind of people, this is what happens. Why have there been no searches conducted to date? At this time, the family is requesting that SLED take over Jamilla's investigation, removing Aiken County Sheriff's Office entirely from the investigation. We are also asking that the FBI step in and assist. This request comes with numerous reasons and concerns that are very justified. We ask that the community keep Jamilla and her family in their thoughts and prayers. Just to add this isn't in my writing, but I found an article last night where an Aiken County Sheriff's Office disavows domestic violence. He sent out a memo to investigators. State law, state policy for law enforcement, if they're called in for domestic violence and they see physical injury, they can arrest, and they're supposed to arrest on the scene. Harmon has never once been arrested for criminal domestic violence. That's beyond disgusting how he has been able to get away with doing what he has done to Jamilla. We're standing with this family where they are now, with still no answers. And he still continues to get away with whatever he has done.
We asked for the community help on this one. We offered a $10,000 reward that anybody know any type of information to call in and let somebody know something.
Okay, hey, my name is Vanessa. I'm here today to speak on behalf of Jamilla and the rest of the family. On Thursday, I submitted a Freedom of Information request for 911 calls from December 2nd until 2 years prior, and I was told by the individual at the county that I can only get 6 months worth of phone calls because the previous months have been corrupted. I let her know that there's a statute of limitations as well as record retention policy in place, and I also let the young lady know that I was expecting to hear something from her in the mandated 10 days as well as the minimum 30 days response time for us to get those phone calls for Jamilla. Thank you.
I think it's important to say to you, this family has consistently, continuously been reaching out to the investigators with the Sheriff's Office. Jamilla's father, in the past week, has been calling investigator Abdullah. She texted him Saturday. She sent him a text message on Saturday to say that she was out of town on family business, personal leave, and that the investigation was left with another investigator, but nobody has reached out to this father. An investigator should not be sending a text message to a father who is missing his daughter.
Yes.
There still has been no communication. We're out here in front of the Sheriff's Office now. Where's anybody? Where are they? I think it speaks volumes that they're not out here. I think it's important to keep Jamilla's story out there and keep her name going.
Is the family considering putting on a search on its own? This is its own entity.
We have last weekend. We was all out here doing footwork. During that time, there was no law enforcement, nowhere to be found. It was just the family out here looking for. And then those are just crews that we have received to go out there and look for ourselves.
I reached out to the South Carolina Bureau of Investigation, asking them to step in and assist us with a search for Jamilla, and the agency responded to me and said that Aiken County Sheriff would have to ask for help. Also called the Federal Bureau of Investigation to see if they can assist us with the search for Jamilla as well, and I was again told that Aiken County Sheriff would have to ask for help. They're not in a position to ask for help right now, I guess, to find Jamilla. And obviously you guys know that August of last year there was another young lady that went missing under the same similar situation as Jamilla, and we don't want Jamilla to become another statistic. She has family who loves her. She has children who loves her, and that's why we're here today. We don't want to be swept under the rug. I sent an email out on this weekend to a lot of the county officials demanding answers. I've received one response from a young lady from District 1, said that she was couldn't really do anything. That Jamilla was a beautiful young lady and she's praying for the family, and my response to her was, okay, well, if you could please, when you get to work tomorrow, tap your constituent from the District 2 on the shoulder and let her know that I would like to have a response email, from her, so we can have some type of accountability.
That's the key, accountability. There is no accountability anymore. When these cops swear in, it's not just a basic oath. They swear under the code of ethics. They won't have personal opinion. They won't be biased, and they will always hold themselves accountable. There's no accountability. They treat families the way that they want to. They work cases mediocre based on who the person is. Jamilla has not been important from day one, and she needs to be important.
What has detectives or investigators done since since the missing persons report was made? What has been done to help find her?
Nothing.
No communication.
48 hours. And she was reported missing on the 3rd.
And what is this lack of communication kind of doing to you guys who are, waiting for her to come home?
Making us frustrated, discouraged, hurt, no direction to go, leaving us to kind of do some legal, ramifications on our own, within our, power, because we have limited resources as far as, the laws in South Carolina, because most of us are out of either, Fayetteville and Georgia. So that's pretty much it. Oh, and Florida. So we just want some accountability from the actual officers who are sworn in to protect and serve individuals. We do feel like there's a conflict of interest of certain things that's happening within the police station.
Yeah, it's a lot of lack of at this police department.
Yeah.
It's a lot of lack of. It's not too many answers. They're not giving too many answers. I don't know what's happening.
What did they say when you requested that SLED be brought in to investigate? What did the Aiken County Sheriff's Office tell you when you said we'd like SLED to investigate this missing person case?
Well, for me, I called in and asked them to have SLED step in and assist, and I called, and it's been about almost 2 weeks when they told me they was going to give me a phone call back, and I've been calling ever since. I've called numerous times from numerous numbers, because they probably know my own personal number by now. So nothing has been said, nothing has been done. We've been, left to do our own thing. By the grace of God, last weekend while we were out here, I reached out to this young man right here. I called about 20 numbers to see if somebody could volunteer their services and their time. Drones, divers, any type of resource for this young man. He has access to dogs. They even told him that unless they ask him for help, he can't come in and assist us with his dogs. Last communication that we had was supposedly there was a warrant to be a subpoena to get access to someone's land. I know that it doesn't take weeks to get access to someone's land. I know it's as quick as signing a form and sending it to the judge, let the judge sign it, and then they can go in and get access to anybody's land to see if they can find the location of Jamilla or just wherever this young man has been. The family, we searched online. We saw that there was a 9-mile radius between where the last ping where Millie was and this young man was found. It was about a 9-mile radius. We know for a fact that that area was not searched.
Say access to land. Are you trying to search properties that Mr. Harmon owns in Aiken County to see if Jamilla might be there? Do you believe she might be at one of his properties when you say access to land?
So, we believe that she may be at one of his properties. We believe that we may be in one of his probably accomplices properties. We believe that she may just be on some unfamiliar individual property. We just want to get access to.
Is Harmon the father of Jamila's 2 children?
One. And I personally reached out to the district attorney to see what resources were available for the kids. Those kids are minors. They have rights. And it seems at this point their civil rights are being violated. They should have access to resources. Being minor children. Millie, she lives here in this county. She's a taxpayer. She's a citizen. She pays, her taxes. She should be entitled to some of the things that any other person would be entitled to when they're in this situation.
Where are the 2 children right now?
With the grandparent. And while we're speaking about the grandparent, Millie's mother, she's very distraught. On the verge of just breaking down every day. The father, very distraught, on the verge of breaking down every day. Guys got to understand how something like this can impact individuals' lives. The holidays are around the corner. It's nice for them to, in this area, I went online, I searched Google, it's free. I saw that the captain and the investigator went on a trip to Disney World, November 28th. Must be nice to go to Disney. Thinking about getting her kids here. While they in their beds, warm, sleep. We don't know what's going to happen with Millie. We got children that's asking where their mother is every single day. They got 2 children. They see their children every single day. We don't know when Millie or when Millie's children is going to be able to see their mother. I don't understand it.
Christmas is Monday, next Monday to be exact. How tough is it going to be if Millie's not found by next Monday?
Very hard. Very hard. They go home, they get to look at they family, their loved ones. When we leave and we look Millie kids in the face, we don't have the answers. We don't have anything. Only thing we know is this young man is locked up and he's not talking. We don't understand why he's not talking. So if anybody want to assist, anybody want to help, if somebody want to go to the jailhouse and talk to him, to give him at least give us some type of closure, some type of peace, that would be great. But as far as the holidays coming, as far as Christmas, she got kids. What child does not love Christmas? That's one of the most important holidays, to a child. So it's unbearable.
I spoke with her last night and I asked her, I said, Miss Tina, is this a good time? And she said, no. She said, but I don't ever see a good time. This whole family, the emotions are like no others. Nobody that, if you haven't been through it, you can't imagine what this family is feeling. They're able to hold themselves together. Her mom told me, she says, I don't know if I'm going to survive this. She feels lost. She feels alone. She has Googled grief counselors. It's all about the money. She's reached out to the VA.
Yep.
She wants to talk to someone that can understand what she's going through. I was able to speak with Gabby Petito's mom last night, who has offered, if Jamila's mom wants to, she'll be glad to talk to her. Her mom is doing a lot with domestic violence, but she's more than willing. She's opened up herself to the whole family, but also with the mom.
And Kimberly, I know what you said in the agenda that you was reading, that the sheriff told either the father or the stepfather that when you hang with these type of people, I want you guys to understand that Millie comes from a long line of, hard-working individuals, right? You have prior military in her family. Her mother herself is a vet. Her father is a hard-working HVAC, specialist. Her aunt, prior military, uncle, prior military, cousins, the whole 9, prior military. Everybody works hard in this family, so I don't understand how he could say something like that. If you're going to judge somebody, I think you need to judge the person that put us in the situation to begin with, not Millie.
Well, Jamila's father, one of my first conversations with him, he said that when he first, met Harmon, and he didn't see anything. He thought he was an okay guy, that he did, and he just recently found out about the abuse abuse his dogs. Like I said, I mean, they're master manipulators. They're narcissists, which is not a mental health diagnosis. You know, they're now trying to push mental illness with them.
That's not true. If anybody suffered mentally, it's Millie. If anybody suffered emotionally, it's Millie. And for one report that I read, that an observance of domestic violence was seen by an officer in front of a child. If you could have exercised your right based on the affidavit and the laws of South Carolina, you could have exercised your right to arrest this young man. If you don't want to do it for Millie, you could have did it for her child. You saw the abuses, you saw the scars, but you didn't act.
Well,
And I
that
don't
same
understand
day, the deputy also reported seeing the dried blood under Harmon's fingernails. So that just shows Harmon was on the scene at the time they saw the physical injury to Jamilla. State law says you are to make an arrest, not leave them together. You leave and go sign an arrest warrant.
Those emails that you received had how long is this going on?
One August of this year, and the other one was November.
She was begging for help.
She was.
I just want to point that out.
She was, and I think for Jamilla, when she realized that nobody was there to help her and nobody was going to save her, what is she supposed to do? The 911 call. Their 911 system is set up that when you call in, it tells the phone number and it will give your location. She's called the sheriff's office so many times. They know her number. It's in their CAD system. Why did nobody go out there that night on December 2nd? She didn't have to tell her name. They knew who was calling, because if they didn't know who was calling, why all of a sudden after he's arrested, she's still missing? Why all of a sudden did that specific call become an issue if they didn't know it was her?
Are you referring to the call
The 911 call on December 2nd.
that was put in the report?
Where she called their ex-boyfriend was there and she was running away from him. And
So law enforcement told us that they responded, and when they responded to the call, no one was there. So then they came back to do a wellness check. Still no one was there.
they didn't go back until December 3rd to do a welfare check, and that was after her mother contacted them to do a welfare check.
I know they're not saying much, but have they said whether they looked at his phone records at all, see if he spoke with anybody about it?
They have none of that.
No
To this
subpoena.
day, they have none of that.
No subpoena phone records
That we've been updated.
that we've been updated on. The lack of communication, there's been none.
Haven't investigated friends or his family or anything?
We don't know. We don't know. Yes, so we just want to say, thank you all for coming out here. And Millie, if you're still there, if you can still do whatever you can, just know that we're not going to stop until we find you. We're not going to stop, and we're going to keep pressing and keep pressing and keep pressing until we get answers, until we get what we need to get closure.